Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping right into something I know a lot of you are thinking about. Is now actually the right time to buy an electric car?
It's a huge question right now.
Yeah, everyone wants to get smart on this fast.
Hmm.
It's evolving so quickly. So we've gathered a bunch of articles, some research, our notes, basically trying to cut through all the noise for you.
Exactly.
And having gone through this decision myself recently, what we found in the sources, well, it's pretty compelling stuff.
It really is. There's so much curiosity, but also, let's be honest, some confusion out there about EVs.
Totally.
So our mission today, basically, is to look at the current electric car landscape. We'll pull out the key facts, the insights from the materials you shared, especially thinking about someone who needs a car mainly for city driving,
Hmm.
like you perhaps.
Okay, let's unpack that. Because the sources, they seem to lay out some really clear upsides pretty much straight away, especially when it comes to, well, money. What's the first big win?
Well, the most obvious one, the one everyone talks about, is just this sheer economic benefit day to day, running costs.
Right.
When you look at the analyses, the reports, EVs consistently come out way cheaper to run. We're talking savings estimates like 60 to 70% on refueling compared to petrol or diesel.
Wow, 60 to 70%. That's huge.
It is. And it's not just that electricity can be cheaper per kilowatt hour than a liter of fuel. It's about fundamental efficiency. A normal engine, it wastes most of its energy as heat, maybe only gets 20–30% to the wheels.
Right. I remember reading that.
But an electric motor, it's incredibly efficient. Like over 90% of the electricity actually turns the wheels. It's just a much smarter way to use energy.
So it's baked into the engineering, not just the price per unit. That makes sense. But the savings don't stop there, do they? What about keeping the thing running? Maintenance.
Exactly. That's where the long-term savings really start to add up. Our sources suggest maintenance costs can be, say, 30 to 50% lower for an EV.
50%.
Well, think about what's not in an electric car. There's no engine oil to change, no spark plugs, no fuel filters, no exhaust system needing repairs, no timing belts. The list goes on.
Huh. Yeah, you just eliminated half my mechanic bills right there.
Pretty much. It gets rid of a whole load of regular, sometimes pricey service jobs. And another thing, regenerative braking.
Ah, yeah, where it slows down using the motor.
Exactly. The motor does a lot of the braking, putting energy back into the battery.
Mm.
This means the actual brake pads wear down much, much slower. Sometimes they last the entire life of the car. It's just fundamentally less complex mechanically.
Having owned my Twingo Electric for a bit now, I can totally back that up. Those savings, they're real. It's actually made a noticeable difference month to month. It's like surprisingly satisfying skipping all those usual garage trips.
And your experience, that's exactly what the government reports and consumer surveys are showing. But beyond just running it, there are often these big financial incentives too, things designed to get people to switch.
Like rebates and stuff.
Precisely. For instance, some materials we looked at cited recent Italian government reports detailing purchase incentives. They could go up to, I think it was 11,000 euros. Especially if you trade in an older, more polluting car, that's a big chunk off the sticker price right away.
Okay, that's serious money. And for someone thinking city car, like you mentioned, the perks in the city seem like the real, well, game changers, don't they? This is where it feels really practical.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Cities are actively trying to cut congestion and pollution. So our sources detail things like getting exempt from annual road tax, or at least paying a lot less. That adds up.
Yeah, for sure.
And crucially for city drivers, EVs often get free access to restricted traffic zones, those ZTLs you see in Italy and elsewhere. Imagine just driving into the city center without worrying about fines.
That alone is almost worth it.
It saves so much hassle. Plus free parking in those designated blue-striped spots in many cities. That's a massive win in urban areas where parking is a nightmare.
Definitely.
Some analyses even hint at potential insurance discounts down the line, maybe because EVs have a lower center of gravity, making them less likely to roll over, though that can vary a bit. But yeah, these aren't small things. They genuinely change how you experience driving in the city.
So it's saving money, yes, but also time, stress, and maybe doing a bit of good too.
Exactly. The environmental side is substantial. EVs produce zero emissions while driving. No CO2, no nasty nitrogen oxides or particulates pouring out into the street. That directly helps clean up city air.
Which has real health benefits, right?
Huge health benefits for everyone living there. And one life cycle analysis we saw from a major environmental research group, it showed that even when you factor in battery production and how the electricity is made, an EV's total emissions can be up to 70% lower than a similar petrol car. especially if you charge it using renewable energy.
Okay, so that counters the argument you sometimes hear about emissions just being shifted elsewhere.
It does, largely. And there's one more thing, often overlooked: noise. EVs are incredibly quiet. Think about how much quieter, how much more peaceful our streets could be. That's a big quality of life improvement.
Okay, so the pros are pretty strong. But here's where it gets, really interesting because no new tech is perfect, right? There are always hurdles, questions people have. What do the sources say about the challenges, the things that make you hesitate?
You're right, we need to address those head on. Probably the most common concern that comes up is charging infrastructure.
Yeah, where do I plug it in?
Exactly. And the sources, including some recent infrastructure reports, they acknowledge that while the network is pretty good in many cities and along major highways, it's not, it's not perfectly even everywhere, especially in more rural spots.
So range anxiety is still a thing for some people.
It can be, yes. But, and this is important, those same reports stress that the number of charging points is growing incredibly fast,
Yeah.
like exponentially. Government plans, private companies jumping in, availability is improving really rapidly, new stations pop up constantly.
I guess for city use, like we were saying, maybe if you live in an apartment without your own charger, it's still a bit of a planning thing. But if you have a garage or can charge at work, maybe it's already pretty easy. Less about finding a random charger on the motorway, more about just plugging in overnight.
That's a really key distinction, especially for the city car scenario our sources seem to favor right now. Public charging in cities is expanding fast curbside, shopping centers, car parks. And for loads of people, charging at home overnight, maybe with a level 2 charger, gives them all the range they need for daily driving.
Okay. What about other worries? Like, what if something goes wrong? Repairs, batteries.
That's another valid point raised in consumer surveys, particularly.
Yeah.
The cost of spare parts, especially if the main battery pack needs serious repair or replacing outside its warranty, yeah, that could be expensive, no doubt about it.
That's the big scary one, isn't it? The battery cost.
It is. But a couple of counterpoints here. First, remember what we said about lower maintenance overall. Fewer things to go wrong in the first place. Less complexity helps offset that battery risk somewhat.
Okay, fair enough.
Second, battery warranties are usually really long, often 8, maybe 10 years, or well over 100,000 kilometers. That covers the early life. And third, the market for fixing batteries or using reconditioned ones is actually growing, so more affordable options should appear over time.
Right. It's not always a full replacement scenario. What about the tech moving so fast? You buy a car today, is it going to feel like an old brick in 3 years, like my phone does?
Huh? Yeah, that's a real concern people have. And the tech reviews we looked at, they do acknowledge how quickly battery tech and EV features are evolving. A car bought today might lack some cutting-edge feature that becomes standard in a few years.
So it is a risk.
It is. But here's the flip side. The core stuff, like battery range or basic performance, those huge leaps we saw maybe 5 or 10 years ago, they're starting to level off a bit. Improvements now are often more about charging speed, software, refining efficiency, rather than doubling the range every year.
Ah, okay.
More incremental.
Exactly. Plus, newer EVs increasingly get over-the-air software updates, like your phone, actually. So the car can get better, gain new features, without you even going to the dealer. That helps fight that feeling of instant obsolescence. It's more about the software evolving now.
Okay, so even with those challenges, charging network gaps, potential battery costs, fast tech, the overall direction seems pretty clear, doesn't it? Towards more convenience, better tech, lower costs in the long run. The pluses are getting stronger, the minuses are being worked on.
That's definitely the big picture emerging from all the data. The whole industry is maturing fast. Those early adopter hurdles, they're steadily getting lower. So let's bring it back to you, listening right now. You're weighing the pros, the cons, maybe thinking specifically about a city car. What does all this mean? Is waiting for the next big thing really the smart play?
Well, based on our sources, the general consensus is pretty clear. Waiting usually means you miss out on the benefits you could be getting right now. The money savings, the better urban driving experience, the environmental pluses.
You're losing out by delaying.
In many ways, yes. The infrastructure is growing, the tech is maturing, and those current incentives, they're there to encourage adoption today. So from a practical point of view, buying now, especially with those incentives and running cost savings, it can actually be seen as a pretty far-sighted choice.
And, speaking from my own experience again, it really does feel pragmatic. I used to be a huge Fiat Panda fan, had 3 of them over the years, loved them because they were just so reliable, no fuss.
Solid city cars.
Exactly. And now, for about 3 years, I've been using this Twingo electric mostly for city stuff. And honestly,
Hmm.
it has that same reliable, just works feel as the Pandas did. It starts every morning, gets me where I need to go, and the economic return, the fuel savings, the almost zero maintenance. I think all it's needed is an air filter checkup. It's genuinely taken away that old anxiety about fuel prices and garage bills. It's been great.
It's fascinating because your personal story there really highlights what the sources point to.
Mm.
Those clear, real-world advantages for city driving,
Mm.
that day-to-day reliability you mentioned, plus the cost savings. That's
Yeah.
precisely the sweet spot for city EVs right now. Speaks directly to that pragmatic buyer.
Yeah. And, for longer trips, I've also got a Mercedes EQA. It's lovely, really comfortable, gets around 500 kilometers on a charge. Beautiful interior, great lights. Honestly, a petrol or diesel car with that level of comfort would cost a lot more. So even for bigger EVs, the value can still be there.
Right. And connecting that back to the broader picture,
Yeah.
your EQA experience also touches on that distinction we're seeing for different uses. It's a fantastic car for distance, no doubt.
Yeah.
But as you hinted, and the sources confirm, long trips do still present some specific hurdles sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned needing those, say, 20-minute stops at motorway chargers. And sometimes you pull up and the charger's busy. Or worse, someone's parked there who isn't even charging.
Yes. That can be frustrating. It adds uncertainty.
It definitely can impact travel time and add a layer of planning.
Yeah.
It just shows that while the car technology is ready for long hauls, the charging experience on those routes is still, well, it's still evolving. It's getting better, but it's not seamless yet.
Exactly. So, what the sources seem to be saying, and what matches my reality, is that right now there are probably more, let's say, joys for people using electric city cars. The benefits are immediate, the hassle's fewer, compared to relying solely on an EV for frequent long distance travel, where the infrastructure can still be a bit more of a puzzle.
That's a good way to put it.
It kind of frames the decision, doesn't it? Are you wanting to be a bit of a pioneer, embracing the full EV experience across all driving, including the long-distance challenges? Or are you more of a pragmatic buyer, focusing on where EVs excel right now, which is undeniably in the city?
And that really raises the key question for you, the listener. Which camp do you fall into?
Mm.
Does your main driving pattern line up with those immediate, clear benefits of a city EV? You really need to think about your specific needs, your daily mileage, and, importantly, your access to charging at home or work.
Right.
Because for a lot of people, especially if you live and drive mostly in urban areas, the evidence suggests the time to go electric is very much now.
So wrapping this all up then, our deep dive today shows there are some really compelling reasons, economic, environmental, practical, to seriously consider an EV right now, especially, and this seems key, if most of your driving is city-based commuting. That's where the benefits really shine, where the current infrastructure works best, and where those challenges we talked about are minimized. It makes it a genuinely smart and I'd say satisfying choice for everyday life.
And maybe just one final thought to leave you with, something a bit provocative perhaps.
Go for it.
As the whole world keeps shifting towards sustainability and governments keep pushing policies that favor electric mobility, think about how future improvements in charging, both how many chargers there are and how fast they are, will just keep making EVs easier and easier.
Right.
That whole infrastructure network will just get stronger. Those occasional motorway charging stops that feel like a slight inconvenience now,
Yeah.
they might genuinely become a distant memory pretty soon. It's not just about the advantages today, it's about where things are very clearly heading tomorrow.
That's a great point. The momentum is definitely there. Well, if you enjoyed this deep dive into electric vehicles and hopefully found it useful, please do give us a like and hit that subscribe button to join our community. We'd love to have you back for more discussions like this.